Welcome to Yoga with Cynthia. I'm Cynthia Bialik, and both the host and the producer of this program. And I'm being faithful is with me. We're going to be demonstrated a seated class for seniors. So if you're familiar with yoga and you have been taking yoga for a while, but just are feeling maybe there are some poses that are beyond your reach, or just that you feel you're at a point of diminishing returns, too much for the aging body. So what we are doing today is showing some modifications for some of the poses. I hope that you can join us. You can always decide to watch today's program for its content and then seek the advice of your healthcare professional. What we've done today is we've rolled up a part of our mat so our sitting bones are on that rolled up part of the mat. We're also going to take the feet out to the side, and this is going to be our modification for staff pose, because when you take your feet out and you put your sitting bones on a lifted cushion, you can use a folded blanket if you have one of those available to you. But this is an easy way to make a class fit your level of fitness. Most gyms have yoga mats. You can find yoga mats pretty easily anywhere these days. So go ahead and know that you can always fold it over or use an additional yoga mat to sit on. So we're going to start today just warming up the spine. So I want you to place your hands on the outside of your hips and just move from one side of the mat to the other. So we're going to go right and left and just move our spine. So this is not going to be your traditional yoga class today, but I hope you enjoy it, because my promise to you is that we're going to be using the spine in all the directions it can move in, laterally extending it, flexing it, axial extending it, and twisting the spine. So now we're going to draw the navel into the spine and round out the back, and then lift the chest and pull forward. Round out the back, and then bring the chest forward. So a small rock back and forward. So as we pull back, you're exhaling, contracting the body. As you breathe in, you're lifting the chest, going into extension. So as you lift up, we're going to bring that left arm in the air now and reach back over your shoulder. And then traction the spine, pull straight up, and we're going to try to reach towards our right leg. So wherever that is for you. Some of you may be able to reach for the bottom of your foot, and if you can, that's great. Now, if you can, take your right hand behind your hip and just look to the right side of your mat. Open the chest as much as you can into a seated twist. And now release that arm. Take your right arm up in the air, lift the chest up high, and let's go ahead and twist to the left. Bring that hand over to your shin or to the foot. Bring your left hand to your hip and just look to that side of the room. Stay there and breathe. Now we're going to bring both hands to the back edge of our yoga mat. Lift the chest up, then reach that right arm in the air. Pull back. Then bring that left arm in the air and reach up. Lifting the chest up high. Now bend the elbows and bloom like a flower. Now round the spine and slide your hands down the mat. So this way, you're only going to slide down as far as the body allows you to and let your head fall to the center of your mat. Now we have a block. If you have a cushion or if you have a block, you can rest your head on the block if that's more comfortable. And let's try that again. Lift the rib cage high. You can bring that left arm up first. And see if you can also bring the right arm up, lifting the chest, relaxing the shoulders back, start to bloom. Allow the shoulders to drop back behind your rib cage, stretching the front of your chest and the front of your shoulders, arching that back, strengthening the rectus spinae muscles. Now drive the navel into your spine, round out the back, and slide down. Now some of you may be able to move your block and let your head come down a little closer to the mat. And just remain there. 2 more deep breaths as you hold. And now come back up. All right. So we're going to reposition the body. So we're going to go ahead and slide off that folded edge. And we're going to come onto our bellies. So take your time getting there. And some of you may be very uncomfortable extending the spine for lots of reasons. So we're going to start today with the rib cage down and just your collarbone lifted. So with this position, we muscles, but we're going to assist rolling the shoulders back, pressing the heels of our palms into the mat, just coming up as high as you can. Stay where you feel comfortable. And then we're going to turn the head to the left. Drop your right ear down. 2 slow breaths with that stretch of the neck. Then go ahead and lift your chin up, lift your collarbone. Breathe, exhale, and turn that head so your left ear comes down. And once again, turn back to center. And we're going to try to slide our elbows in closer to the body and use your elbows to support. Now, see if you can do this. Bring your elbows right underneath your armpits. Move your hips side to side. Sometimes your back is tight, but once you start moving your hips around, you can release some of that tension. If you can, go ahead and do that. Now we're going to bend that right leg, flex your foot, wiggle your toes around. And if you can, reach back and grab the ankle of that foot and just keep moving that foot around. And now flex your foot. Pull that foot into your hand to help stabilize your pose. So this is Ardha Dhanurasana, a half bow pose. Two more slow breaths. And now release that leg. Place your right elbow down and start to lift that left leg. Bend your left knee. Move the ball of your foot around in circles. And if you're ready, you're going to reach the left arm back and try to reach around that left ankle. And see if you can push your foot into your hand to keep yourself steady. Anchor into your pubic bone. Relax that low back. Continue breathing in and out through the nose as you hold there. Now I know some of these poses might be a bit too much, either for your hips or your knees or your ankles. So please just continue to do what feels comfortable for your body. So let's bring the fingertips to the front edge of your mat. We're going to drive the navel into the spine. This requires a lot of ab strength, the transverse abdominis. Lift those hips up. The knees are still down. Look at the very front edge of your mat. Stay there and breathe. Hold on. Now, if you want to challenge yourself, you can curl your toes under and lift your knees. Continue to breathe as you float over the mat in a plank. Now we're going to drop to the knees and start to lift your hips up and plant your head between your elbows in a low dog. Slow your breaths. Now we're going to be coming up to table. So bring your hands underneath your armpits. Now the same thing applies. If being on your knees is at all a bother, you can actually create an extra lip in your mat. Just lift the middle of your mat up and fold it over, and you can plant your knees on that part of the mat. So allow your belly to draw inward, navel to spine, and round the back in cat tilt. Stretch out the back as much as you can. And we're going to do a modified side arm balance. So bring your right leg out to the side, and you're going to start to open the chest to the right. Bring that right arm straight up from the shoulder. So we're also doing a half twist. So like the angle poses, we're going to try to bring our right arm over our shoulder. Variation 2. Bring the arm back up, lift your chest, look up at your right hand. And now we're going to thread the needle. Bring that right hand down and reach onto your left shoulder, come down to your left elbow, and gently reach all the way over to the other side of your mat. Now bring those hands underneath your armpits, switch legs. So we're going to be doing a lot of leg switching, so we alternate the pressure on your knees. Let's take your left leg out to the side, so now the pressure is on the right leg, but we're going to lift up away from the mat, look up into your left hand, lean back into the left shoulder, stay there and breathe. Soften your face. And then on your last exhale, weave your left arm under your right shoulder and fall into the left ear. Threading the needle once again. Feeling the rhomboid stretch, noticing the shoulder blades are pulling apart, getting that deep stretch across your back. And we're going to come back into that table. Pull that spine long, and once again, we're coming into cat. So let's round the back, draw the tailbone down. Stretch out that back as much as you can. And we're going to try to take our right foot forward. And we're going to do a modified revolved angle. So we're going to bring the left side of your chest into your right knee. Look up in the air. And as you return to the floor, grab for your block. And if you don't have a block and you have a small stool or a cushion, please feel free to use anything to support your pose. We're going to place that block right on the outside of your left foot. Take your right arm up and look at that right hand. And as much as you feel you're able to, go ahead and reach back, lifting your chest up high. And as you come off that block, bring both arms in front of you. You're going to take your left arm and reach it over your shoulder. Take your right arm back and see if you can lock your fingers. And then lift your chest again. One more backward bend. Now some of you might be able to slide that right foot forward and press gently into your left hip. Lunging a little further forward if you can. Lifting the rib cage high. And now come back up. And we're going to switch out our legs. So bring those hands forward and switch. Take your left leg to the front of your mat. Keep your right hand on the floor. Start to open the chest to the left. Look up into your left hand here. Lean back into the left shoulder. Stay there and breathe. Now on the last exhale, drop that arm down, reach for your block, and replace that block on the outside of your right foot. And for those of you that want to, you can try that backward bend. You can always just place your right hand down and just lift that left arm up. But if you anchor into a block and press your right thigh forward gently, that gives you a little bit more stability. Lifting the rib cage as high as you can. Allow that left shoulder to fall back over your hip. Continue your breaths. Now slowly we're going to bring that left arm forward. Take your right arm up in the air. Reach back with your right hand. And I'm going to angle myself just so you can see what's going on back here. You're reaching that right arm back, trying to lock those hands. And if you can, pull forward. Look up in the air here. And start to release those hands. Let's bring those hands back to the mat. And once again, round the spine and cat tilt. And this time we're going to cross those ankles and have a seat on your mat. But this time I want you to flatten your mat because we're going to wind up reclining on our mat. So go ahead and take your block, because we're going to recline on our mats, and we're going to place that block underneath the buttocks. Again, if you have a cushion or if you have just a bed pillow of something of that nature, you can do that to lift your pelvis. Now, we're going to engage the glute muscles and the hamstring muscles by pushing into the heels, taking a deep breath in as you lift up, and then exhale back down. And we're going to do that 10 times. Take a deep breath in, lift up, that's 2. And down. And deep breath, lift up. And down. And again, breathe. And down. And lift. And down, that's 4. And breathe. And that's 5. And lift up. That's 6. And lift up, 7. And down. 8. Breathe. 2 more times. Lift up, engage those glutes and hamstrings. 1 more time, coming up. This time we're going to stay there. Now move your block and slowly bring those hips down. And now raise just your right leg in the air. Hold on to the back of that leg to isolate the hamstrings. And we're going to plantar flex and dorsiflex the foot, pushing up and down to work through the fascia of the foot, the soleus, the Achilles, the calf. And now move the ball of your foot in circles. I'm going to do a little hip stretch here. So let's cross that right leg in front of your left and just move that right leg back and forth to release any tension you have in your hips. And now we're going to attempt to reach around that left leg and pull it against the right ankle. So when we pull our left leg against the right ankle, we get a really good glute stretch. So our glute medius and minimus, some piriformis. Some of you may feel a piriformis if you have particularly tight in the center of the glutes there. Pull back as much as you feel comfortable. And let's switch legs. Take your left leg up in the air now. Grab a hold of the back of that leg. And we're going to plantar flex and then dorsiflex the foot. Point and pull back. Move the ball of your foot around in circles. And in both directions, and the other direction as well. Gently stretching those hamstrings. One more pull back. And now we're going to take that left leg in front of your right and just move that left knee around. And then gently reach around the right leg and pull up against that left ankle. Once again, stretching the glute medius and minimus, your abductors, abductors. Some of you may be able to pull back far enough to feel the piriformis, glute max. Also feeling those inner thighs. Now, when we release the legs this time, we're going to start to come into our relaxing corpse pose or savasana. But I want to take this opportunity to thank you so much for joining Yoga with Cynthia. Till next time, namaste. So we're going to settle into our mats and just relax the shoulders back. Let your hips open. Let your toes turn out to the side. And I want you to keep your mouth closed. Continue breathing in and out through the nose. Letting your chest rise with each of your breaths. And enjoy this pose through the duration of the class and beyond.